There are so many different species in the world, and each one has a very important role to play in keeping nature balanced and healthy. One of the most interesting parts of this balance is how different species interact with each other. These interactions are called symbiotic relationships, and there are 5 types: mutualism, commensalism, predation, parasitism, and competition. Mutualism is an interaction where both individuals benefit. For example, oxpeckers will land on rhinos, zebras, water buffalo, and other animals to eat bugs off of them. This is good for the oxpecker because it gets a meal, and the other animals because they are protected from harmful pests. The second symbiotic relationship is commensalism. This is where one individual benefits while the other is unaffected. One example of this is the remora. A remora is a type of fish with a sort of suction cup on its head that allows it to attach to other species like sharks and manta rays. This doesn't harm or benefit the individual that the remora is attached to, but it does help the remora in many ways. It gets protection because it is attached to a much larger creature, it gets to move around without having to use up a lot of energy, and finally, it can sometimes get food scraps that the shark or manta ray missed. The next relationship is predation. This interaction causes harm to one individual, the prey, but benefits the other, the predator. Every carnivore participates in this type of symbiosis, from lions eating zebras to raccoons eating fish. The next relationship, parasitism, is similar to predation where one individual, the parasite, benefits, while the other, the host, is harmed. The difference with this, though, is that the parasite usually lives on the host and doesn't necessarily kill it. A common example of this is ticks and fleas living on dogs and feeding on their blood. The parasites get food, while the dog experiences discomfort and can potentially get diseases. Finally, there is competition, which is when two individuals fight for resources such as food or habitats. When the competition is between individuals of the same species, it is intraspecific, and when it is between individuals of different species, it is interspecific. Interspecific competition is nearly inevitable because members of the same species have the same needs, so when resources are limited, they must compete. This type of competition may be harmful to the outcompeted individuals, but it is typically beneficial to the species as a whole because it leads to natural selection. Interspecific competition is mainly caused by non-native species being introduced to a new area. This doesn't always lead to negative effects on the ecosystem, though. Sometimes the non-native species form beneficial relationships with native ones. For example, in California, Spartina grass, a non-native plant, has provided habitats for the California clapper rail, an endangered native bird. In other cases, non-native species can be very harmful to native species. For example, the brown tree snake, which was introduced to Guam, has driven several different bird species to extinction. These 5 symbiotic relationships are all important because they provide the base on which ecosystems can function. If you'd like to read more about these interactions, you can check out my sources for this video.